WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and WNST.net. We are off to Miami, with or without the Ravens. We will look at Patrick Mahomes' fat head on one side of the stage, and we will look at the Jimmy Garoppolo fat head on the other side of the stage. Many of us still in some state of shock, mourning. Dennis Koulatsos is one of those. He'll be here on Thursday from 3 until 5, driving you home with the Dennis Koulatsos Show. I will be checking in and then off to Miami with Luke. Dennis, I still haven't watched any of the highlights of the game. I didn't watch any of the pregame on Sunday because they were showing highlights of the game. I sort of turned my head away. I've been focusing on, other things this week, just other projects, which is my way of healing. I just sort of like dust off, 24-hour rule, and then, okay, what needs to be done, let's go do it. Let's move on to the next thing. It's how I dealt with, grief when my mom passed and my wife was bad. Just get up and do your best the next day. But Sunday, I had a hard time.
Yeah.
I once the game started, and I was like, where would I be right now? What would I be doing right now? Where would I be sitting right now? How much fun would I be having right now? How nervous would I be right now? And I think all that got taken away.
No, I would agree with you, Nestor. It's about 11:30 on Sunday. I started thinking right now I'd be making preparations to head down to M&T Bank and meet up with family and friends and fellow Ravens fanatics, right? But once I got through that moment, I was able to focus on both games, and I love the NFL. Both games were intriguing to me. The matchups, Aaron Rodgers and Garoppolo and the Niners defense and the Titans, could they, continue to impose their will on the league and the Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid not being to the big show. So for me as a fan, I'm over the Ravens' loss, what could have been, and I'm still holding on to, although that these windows can close relatively quickly, that the window for the Ravens is wide open, and the team, even though they may not go 14-2 next year, should be even better than this year's edition. And there's lots of hope for our future, so for some great football around here.
Well, Luke and I had a long-spirited debate about it. I'm sure for the next 8 months we'll be debating it. But one thing for sure, and we can move on from the Ravens, get on the other game, because we have plenty of time to talk Ravens, but that there are no great deficiencies on this team where we're like, they've got to go get linebackers. Sure, they need linebackers. Sure, they could use some interior defensive line help. Yeah, Marshall Yanda might walk away, and they're always going to need fortification on the offensive line. But and sure, they could use another receiver. I mean, you could say that, but they were 14-2. And the hardest part of this was watching the Titans go out and slap it around a little bit. And you say, what could have been, how close were they? Well, they were close enough that they don't have these glaring off-season issues or needs. They need to patch up their boat. They need to play better next January. They need to be a better team in September defensively than they were this year. They need to be more stout, even more stout against the run. And they need to get back guys that were injured and rev up the engines and get the free agency started. But we're not coming at this from so much conversation about big needs over the next 3 to 5 months, because that's not going to be part of the conversation. And sadly, I think the meltdown against Tennessee is going to be the conversation, because they remember the last thing you did, Dennis. You know that.
Yeah, they did. And look, give Kansas City credit. They did what the Patriots and Ravens couldn't do. They stopped Derrick Henry, right? That was job one. If you take away the other team's best weapon, which is something that Bill Belichick has done for an entire career, and I'm sure Wink Martindale and the coaching staff that were focused on the same thing, the players just didn't execute, whether they weren't good enough, missed their assignments or whatever, or just got the other team wanted it more. All those things factored into the Ravens' loss, right? But I think that was a big key for the Chiefs is limiting Derrick Henry and making Ryan Tannehill beat him, which we suspected he couldn't do, and he couldn't do it.
Dennis Koulatsos is here. You can follow him out on Twitter as well as here at WNST from 3 until 5 on Thursday, driving you home, getting you through the week, and also on Sunday mornings, of course, as the original Sunday sports voice. All right, to this matchup. Chiefs and 49ers, and we'll have some more time and some oxygen to talk about it later on in the week as well. But I'm going to be at the Super Bowl all next week, sitting down with whomever sits down with me. I'm sure many of them are going to want to talk about Lamar Jackson with me and the Ravens. But Mahomes and Garoppolo. I don't know that we'd be super duper duper shocked by this if you would have said that to me in August. The Garoppolo part, sure, but this is Mahomes' train was supposed to arrive right now, right? He was supposed to go to Miami all along.
Yeah, Mahomes was supposed to be there, and for me, look, the Chiefs are such a great organization that I know back in 1970 they went there, and I saw your Twitter feed. You had Hank Stram on there, and I love Coach Stram. We came to the States back in '73, and I went back in time, and I've seen the videos of him on the sideline. Come on, boys! We got him, boys. He's slapping a newspaper, whatever he had in his hand. An old school coach. So it's nice 50 years later to see Clark Hunt receive the AFC Championship trophy bearing his father's name, right, Lamar Hunt. And now you got this young quarterback who has arrived. He is a fantastic player, fantastic leader, fantastic arm, and he challenged some inner Lamar Jackson in his nice run right down the sideline, twisting and turning. The Chiefs, I think, have been installed as a slight favorite heading into the game in what should be a great matchup. And then, of course, on the flip side, you got Garoppolo, who was forced out of New England by Tom Brady, right? That was a favor done for him by Robert Kraft as he was making up for that Deflategate, that the organization didn't fully stand behind him. So Brady dug his heels in, demanded that Garoppolo leave, and now, of course, Garoppolo got a chance to win a ring. So there's all kind of subplots, twists, and turns in this Super Bowl. Lots of storylines.
And the storyline where Terrell Suggs would be holding another Super Bowl ring if indeed Andy Reid is the one holding the trophy. I like the thought of Andy Reid holding the Lombardi Trophy. I do. I've dealt with Andy a lot over 20 years. Just a quality guy. Coach Billick would, say that for many years, and obviously a sponsor of John Harbaugh's career and a believer in John Harbaugh, kept him around. Didn't hire John Harbaugh, you know that, right? Ray Rhodes hired John Harbaugh, and John made it through a firing as a special teams coach with a young wife. So that was part of his whole thing of coming to the NFL, that Andy kept him around and believed in him all those years, and then propped him up to Ozzie when it came time to get him a job. So, Andy Reid's one of the good guys. We say that about Tyreek Hill, or I certainly wouldn't say that about Terrell Suggs. But, the Chiefs, why not? Let them win. It's been 50 years, right? Like, it beats the Steelers or the Patriots being there, from my perspective anyway.
Well, I'm a bit conflicted because back in 2011, I went to the Super Bowl, and I cheered against the Steelers when the Packers were beating them. I'll also be at the Super Bowl. I haven't made up my mind yet who I'm going to cheer. I don't think I'm going to cheer for either team. I just may end up just being a complete hater, Nestor, and just booing both of them at the top of my lungs the entire game just because we're not there. But I'm rocking my Lamar Jackson jersey.
Are you going to wear your purple hair to the Super Bowl?
I am. Why not? Why wouldn't I? It's a lot of fun. I think we do see fans from all different teams at the Super Bowl, and that's part of the fun, part of the festivities. Everybody ribbing you. Okay, you guys think you didn't make it. You got beat by the Titans. We'll take that, but we'll also take the 14-2. And look, you've been to a ton of Super Bowls. You know how special they are. It's such a great event. And why not? Miami, February 2nd, sounds like a great place to be, doesn't it?
Yeah, if you get down there early, I got a barbecue spot for you on Saturday. And if you get down real early, I got a couple Cuban spots for you, too.
Nice.
You're going to go to the game.
We're coming down that Thursday. We're going to stay Thursday through Monday. So very much looking forward to the trip. Just as a pure football fan, I'm going to go down there. We have a Hall of Fame dinner with Merlin Olsen. Looking forward to that, and some other things planned for us.
Well, I'm going to have to reach to you because if you're anywhere near Radio Row on Friday, maybe we'll have you come by and hang out for a little bit. So, yeah. Luke's leaving on Thursday. We got some maneuverings going on down there with the Ravens not being in the game and my wife maybe not being able to fly with her ears and her ear infection. So, we're working on some things, but I'm going to be there. We're going to be there. WNST is going to be there all week through support of folks like you from Coons Florida Security Boulevard sending us down there. What's going on out at your place? I know you're going to abandon your place for a mere 48 hours next weekend to jet off and see the Super Bowl and continue the football passion you have and saying, you know what, if the Ravens can't be there to represent, you're going to be there wearing your Lamar Jackson jersey and your purple hair. But I know between now and then, you got things happening over there. Kind of a vital time of the get the year off to the right kind of start for everyone, right?
Yeah, you know it. It's just like any organization when you get off to a great start, and we're very, very busy now. The weather's been kind to us, and not too much snow or ice out there, and so traffic and business continues to be very, very good. People are still wearing the purple. They're coming in here. Our customers are. They're still wearing number 8s and 15s and 57s, whatever numbers that they feel like wearing. So we're keeping the festive atmosphere going. All of our cars have heat. That's standard. Heated steering wheels are commonplace these days. Heated seats, and it's bitter cold. It's a great time to upgrade your ride for sure.
I would just say this, man. It's a weird thing when we lose the way we did, because Friday night my wife went to bed early, and I can look out over the city from where I am, and I remember when I got back the previous Friday night from Miami, like I'm all worked up, and Neil Peart had just died, and we had this party plan that I had been successful, and when you put all the pieces together, right? I had the hotels, I had everything ready to go. And I looked out last Friday when I landed late at night, and the city was purple as far as my eyes could see. And this Friday I looked out, and I couldn't find any purple.
Yeah.
And then I looked down on the water, and I saw one little boat still had the purple glow, in the little cabin down by the Rusty Scupper. And, the Orioles pulled their lights off. And, I think one or two, the Bromo Seltzer may have still been a little purple, but everything's gone. And I'm like, man, it's like it literally, we would always say like the switch flipped. You know what I mean? And so it really does happen quickly. I mean, I wore my purple lights as far as you. I talked to you on Monday, and that was the 24-hour rule that Ray Lewis talks about, right? Like, at some point, the morning has to stop, and the fact that it's in Miami and you had a ticket and you're going down and you had made a plan and you're, the Merlin Olsen and this, and I got to go down and do radio and you say you're going to take your shots from the Lamar thing. I'm going to hear a week if everyone's going to sit down and say to me, what happened to your team, dude? Like, I can hear Baldinger beating me up right now. What happened to your team, Nasty? And I'm going to have to deal with that all next week. So, come down and lick your wounds with me, man. We're all in it together, dude,
Look, what? I enjoyed the ride, Nestor. We kept telling ourselves to enjoy the ride. Still a 14-2 season. Still back-to-back AFC North championships. Nothing to hang our head about, right? I spent some money. I bought an authentic NFL jersey from my buddy at Robbie's First Base, Hollywood Brown. So I might even wear my new Hollywood Brown jersey down there, and let Margot wear the number 8 for Lamar. So we'll be down there. We'll be proud. Look, we lost a playoff game. A lot more things in life worse than that. And if 2011 was any indication, we're going to win it next year. I believe in stuff like that, intention, and I think the team does have enough. As Luke mentioned, this team doesn't need a whole lot, right? And Eric DeCosta is off to a great start. Ozzie Newsome hasn't gone anywhere. They'll upgrade this team in the offseason. Coach Harbaugh and his season-ending presser talked about 2 receivers, not 1. So they're fully aware of what they need to get to the next level. And there was a comparison between Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, and Deion Sanders defended Lamar Jackson. There's no Tyreek Hill. There's no Travis Kelce. There's no Sammy Watkins. There's no McCole Hardman. And that's the difference. I think if you put those receivers on the Ravens, perhaps it's the Ravens going to the Super Bowl versus the Chiefs.
You said all this football stuff, Dennis, but all I heard was the power of intention from you. And I'm thinking, you've been reading some Wayne Dyer? I mean, seriously, you staying up late?
I read a lot of stuff. I haven't read Wayne Dyer in many, many years, but I guess that's one of those things that stuck, right? But I do believe that.
No, hold on, though. But you have read Wayne Dyer.
Yes, of course I have, yes.
Fair enough.
I'm a voracious reader. I like reading that kind of stuff. Any self-help, any stuff that helps you manage your state of mind, whether it's Tony Robbins or Wayne Dwyer, I'm all over that.
Yeah, I heard power of intention, and I thought, That's a Wayne Dyer thing because I'm a Wayne Dyer guy too. Okay, good. All right, so that we'll do that in part 2. Dennis Koulatsos, he'll be here Thursday, 3 to 5. He will not be talking about. He'll be talking about the power of intention of Lamar Jackson on getting us to Tampa this time next year. All right, man.
The MVP.
Rest
the MVP,
up this
right?
week.
The MVP. They can't take that away from him. He's the MVP.
Well, and I've said this. He's going to have to come down to Radio Row and Super Bowl and claim his trophy and do all the things that the MVP does and the NFL honors and he's going to see what South Beach looks like the night before the Super Bowl because that's what MVPs have to do. And, I would think it will motivate him. I think he will see something next week in Miami that says, I'm really pissed off about this. You know what I mean?
Good.
Yeah, I think he will be. I mean, knowing him, I think he will be. And the hardest part for him, the emotional part, from a young guy's perspective, will be there's not going to be another Super Bowl in Miami for a long time. You know what I mean? That his Super Bowl is going to have to come somewhere that's not hometown because he didn't prepare well enough last week. The team didn't prepare well. They weren't good enough last week. And, I would have – we're going to say what if. A Lamar Mahomes matchup this past Sunday in Baltimore would have been interesting. And they didn't earn the right.
Now, the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay next year, Nestor, is that correct?
That is correct. 20th anniversary of Trent Dilfer.
All right. Why not, right?
That's why I got my Art Modell picture up over here on the set now. I have the wider set, and I've decided to move Art to the forefront. And I'm figuring, the Kukua nuts. You know what I mean? Maybe Eddie Mulatalo can bring the Kukua nuts that Art wore, and maybe, that'll be what Lamar will wear to honor Art, in the aftermath of a scrum in Tampa. What do you think?
I think that sounds awesome. From your lips to God's ears. I hope to see you there.
All right, there he is. Dennis Koulatsos, Coons Florida Security Boulevard, D. Koulatsos Show. You can find him out on Twitter, 3 until 5 on Thursday, and Super Bowl 55 would be ours. Maybe that's the Terrell Suggs thing. He didn't even wear 55 anymore. He's going to Super Bowl. We're not. Well, although we are. We'll be in Miami all next week. I almost said Tampa. No, that's next year. Hopefully we'll all be there next year as well, as Dennis pointed out. Nasty at WNST.net, the way to find me. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore. We never stop talking Baltimore sports.